Hello friends and welcome to StudyIQ. I am Joycey Joy and today in this lecture we will be discussing about the recent Lucknow Declaration. So let us discuss about the Lucknow Declaration in detail in this lecture. But before we begin, this is our channel StudyIQ and we are providing pen drive courses for various competitive examinations like the SSC bank courses, UPSC optionals, SSC JE courses, teaching examination, railway examination, defense examination, RBI grade B, NABARD grade A, UGC NET, UPSC Civil Services Examination, for CLAT exams, for various state PSCs and also for various professional courses. You can visit our website www.studyiq.com or you can call to any of these numbers for more information. So let us start with the current affair. Let us see what is Lucknow Declaration and what was the current affair recently. So India and 50 African countries. So please remember that the Lucknow Declaration recent one, it is with India and 50 African countries. Adopted the Lucknow Declaration at the first India-Africa Defence Ministers Conclave. So India and Africa has adopted the Lucknow Declaration at the first ever India-Africa Defence Ministers Conclave. So such type of recent events which were in the news are asked in the UPSC examination, preliminary examination. So please remember this. So Lucknow Declaration, it is between India and 50 African countries and this was adopted when the first India-Africa Defence Ministers Conclave was held. Now, as you might be knowing, the UPSC notifications for the Civil Services Preliminary as well as the Indian Forest Service Preliminary Examination is already out. So candidates have started preparing seriously for the examination. So please revise properly and also please be aware with the concepts and also the current affairs. I'll definitely be coming up with a revision class for your preliminary examination in economics and Indian polity. But please be very serious with your preparations as the notifications have already come. So all the best to all of you. Now let us come back. The conclave was held on the sidelines of the ongoing DEF Expo of 2020. So the first ever India-Africa Defence Ministers Conclave, it was held on the sidelines of the ongoing DEF Expo of 2020. Now let us quickly see what is DEF Expo 2020. So DEF Expo, it is a flagship biennial event of the Ministry of Defence. Biennial means conducted once in every 2 years. So it's a flagship biennial event of the Ministry of Defence and it was held for the first time in Lucknow in Uttar Pradesh from 5th to 9th of February 2020. So this was held for the very first time in Lucknow, which is in the state of UP, Uttar Pradesh, and it has already been conducted from 5th to the 9th of February. And this is the 11th edition of DEF Expo. And DEF Expo, it's a mega defense exhibition. So it is a defense exhibition and DEF Expo is one of the largest events of its kind. The 10th one, that is the previous edition, was held at Chennai, Tamil Nadu in 2018. So as we said, this is a biennial event which is conducted in every 2 years, once in every 2 years. So this is about the recent DEF Expo. Please remember it was held in Lucknow. This can be a probable question in the general awareness session of various competitive examinations. So DEF Expo, it was recently held in Lucknow. Now let us come to the main theme, to the details of the DEF Expo this year. The main theme of the DEF Expo India 2020, it is India, the emerging defense manufacturing hub. So the theme was based on defense manufacturing. So we already know that how the government is giving importance or more focus towards manufacturing defense equipments in India through Make in India initiative. So this year we will see that in the DEF Expo, the main theme was Emerging Defense Manufacturing Hub. India, the Emerging Defense Manufacturing Hub, and the focus will be on digital transformation of defense. So how the defense sector can be digitally transformed. And the DEF Expo 2020, it promises to bring new technologies, technological solutions where the defense manufacturing companies from India and abroad showcase their products and services in defense arena on a single platform. and this provides Indian defense industry an opportunity to promote its export potential. So, how to promote the export potential of Indian defense industry. And Defense Expo 2020 will showcase the comprehensive spectrum of India's aerospace, defense and security interest. So these are the details of the Defense Expo conducted in Lucknow very recently. Very important. Now let us come to the declaration, that is the Lucknow Declaration. Why this is named as Lucknow Declaration? The reason is that the Lucknow Declaration, it is a agreement or it is a understanding between the India and 50 African countries. So this was held in the sidelines of the Def Expo 2020. And where was Def Expo conducted this year? In Lucknow. So that is the reason it is called Lucknow Declaration. Now let us come to the highlights of the declaration under various heads. The first one is peace and security. So all the signatories of this declaration, they are committed to continue their collaboration in the fields of peace, security, including the conflict prevention, resolution, management and peace building. So the first one is peace and security. So all the signatories to this declaration, they continued their collaboration in the fields of peace, security, conflict prevention, resolution, management and peace building. And it also aims to enhance the role of women in peacemaking. So peacekeeping and peacemaking. So focus has been given to gender equality or the role of women, empowerment of women with regard to peacekeeping. Now the second highlight of the declaration was regarding maritime security. So here, to exchange expertise and trainers, strengthening regional and continental early warning capacities and mechanism, the safety of our marine resources, of our oceans. So this is the second highlight of the declaration, to ensure maritime security, and how it is done by exchanging the expertise and the trainers between these countries. Now the third focus area was terrorism. So the declaration states that terrorism is a major threat in the region, and also it aims to take resolute action in rooting out terrorism in all its forms and manifestations, eliminating financing channels, that is, eliminating the channels of terror financing and halting the cross-border movement of terrorists. So very important. So under terrorism, special focus has been given on eliminating the terror financing channels. Second one, halting cross-border movement of terrorists, that is, the movement of terrorists from one country to another. And it also urges the international community to envisage the adoption of the Comprehensive Convention on International Terrorism in the UN General Assembly. So the agreement or the Lucknow Declaration, it also urges or requests the international community to envisage the adoption of the Comprehensive Convention on International Terrorism in the UN General Assembly, which we will discuss in detail. Now, let us come to the importance of Indo-Pacific. To encourage enhanced cooperation between India and Africa on evolving concept of Indo-Pacific. And now, if we try to understand what is the concept of Indo-Pacific, for the very first time, the term Indo-Pacific, it was used by the Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe in Indian soil in the year 2007. So, in the year 2007, the Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe has used the term Indo-Pacific for the very first time in India. Then he said that there is a connect between Indian Ocean and the Pacific Ocean. Thereby, he said Indo-Pacific. Now, what are the aspects of Indo-Pacific? So, one is the centrality of the ASEAN. ASEAN is the Association of Southeast Asian Nations. So, the centrality of ASEAN is very important, and it is necessary to take forward the notion of Indo-Pacific. So, the role of ASEAN in the development of this concept called Indo-Pacific, it's very important. Second one, respect for international laws, especially the UN Convention on Laws of the Sea, that is UN clause at the time of disputes, particularly over the South China Sea. This is the second aspect of Indo-Pacific, a second principle that should guide the Indo-Pacific. So, first one is the centrality of ASEAN, which will help in the enhancement of the evolution of Indo-Pacific and also the growth of Indo-Pacific. Second one, the compliance with the UN Convention on Laws of the Sea or the UN clause. This is to settle any kind of disputes if they arise. Now, the significance of Indo-Pacific region. So, Indo-Pacific region, it is a rich region in terms of resources. So, it is a resource-rich region in terms of natural resources like fisheries, oil, gas, etc., as well as mineral resources. So, we can say that Indo-Pacific region, it is a resource-rich region, and about $3.5 trillion international trade flows through the South China Sea. So, in terms of trade also, Indo-Pacific is very important, especially the role of South China Sea. Third, trade of some major economies like China, Japan, Korea or west coast of United States go through the South China Sea. So, the major economies, especially those export-oriented economies like the China, they have a huge stake in the Indo-Pacific. And fourthly, about 50% of India's trade is conducted through the South China Sea. So for India also, Indo-Pacific is very, very significant because more than 50% of India's trade, it is connected through the South China Sea. Now, regarding India's Sagar. So what is Sagar? So in India's vision of Sagar, we will discuss here the African Union's vision for peace and security in Africa. So, in Africa, there is a similar theme or a similar vision. So, it is the vision for peace and security in Africa. And it coincides with India's vision. India's vision is Sagar. So, Sagar is security and growth for all in the region. And Sagar, it is an articulation of India's vision for Indian Ocean. So, basically, India's Sagar, it is the vision of India or articulation of India's vision for Indian Ocean. So this is Sagar. Now Sagar has elements like enhancement of capacities to safeguard land and maritime territories and interests, deepening economic and security cooperation in the littoral, action to deal with natural disasters, maritime threats like piracy, terrorism, etc. So as we have seen, it is a vision of India in the Indian Ocean, and it is mainly concerned with certain factors like security, economic interest, building capacities, dealing with natural disasters, dealing with threats like piracy, terrorism, etc. So these are the focus areas of Sagar, and please remember that Sagar is the vision of India in the Indian Ocean. Now, the vision of Sagar, it was enunciated by Prime Minister in the month of March 2015, and as we said, it's an articulation of India's vision for the Indian Ocean, and enhancing capacities to safeguard land and maritime territories and interests, deepening economic and security cooperation. These are all the important focus areas. We have already seen this, and it also includes engaging with other countries, that is to ensure international cooperation in achieving this vision. So engaging with other countries beyond our shores with the main aim of building greater trust and promoting respect for maritime rules, norms and peaceful resolution of disputes. So these are the important focus areas and the objectives or the mandates of Sagar. Please remember, Sagar is the vision of India in the Indian Ocean. Now let us come to CCIT, origin and status of Comprehensive Convention on International Terrorism. So as you might be knowing, and it is very important to know this because India is the country that has pushed for an intergovernmental convention to enhance prosecution and extradition of terrorists since 1996. So this is called Comprehensive Convention on International Terrorism. So this was recommended by India in the United Nations General Assembly. So in UN General Assembly, India said that we need a comprehensive convention on dealing the international terrorism, and it should be an intergovernmental convention. But the convention has not been approved by the UN General Assembly, but there are certain protocols that are in place. So let us see what are the important protocols. So even though the convention has not been adopted, there are various protocols. So International Convention for the Suppression of Terrorist Bombings, which were adopted on 5th of December 1997. Second one is International Convention for the Suppression of Financing of Terrorism, that is terror financing and sources of terror financing. This was adopted in 1999 December. Third one is International Convention for the Suppression of Acts under Nuclear Terrorism, which was adopted in 2005. So these are the three major protocols to deal with the terrorism, protocols of UN. So remember, the convention that India proposed, it's not accepted. So this is all about the Lucknow Declaration, and you can find the PDF of this lecture on our website www.studyiq.com. You can get in touch with me on my Facebook page or on my Instagram page. Also, you can write to me at joyce.studyiq@gmail.com for any of your queries and clarification. Thank you.